In the Chazon Ish's sefer called Emunah Ubitachon, Faith and Trust, he opens up in an extremely poetic way, talking about each of the different parts of our body. But he talks about it without using the name of the part of the body he's referring to at first. So, for example, he says, humans are created with these 10 stick-like kind of apparatuses at the ends of their hands that allow them to touch things and feel things and be able to move things and manipulate and control. And these 10 little stick-like apparatuses are called fingers. And then we have 2 other apparatuses that allow us to take in perceptions and images of things around us, to see color, to see what's in front of us. And these apparatuses that are on our face are called our eyes. And then he goes through each different part of the body and describes how it works and what it does, and then says, and it's called the mouth, or it's called the nose, etc. And what he's doing there is really brilliant, and in a way trying to show us how much language can be mitzamtzim. Language can constrict. Language can actually oftentimes distract us from the real experience of what something is. Because when we just give it its label, well, now it's just an eye. That's just what eyes do. It's a finger. That's what fingers do. And we lose the sense of what's really happening because we just have a label to go with it, and it becomes kind of just habitual, and whatever it is just whatever it is. And we lose the sense of connection and meaning and nuance to what we're actually experiencing. And it's really interesting because Lahavdil from the Chazon Ish, there's one of the most famous clinicians and therapists and researchers right now in the world is a woman by the name of Sue Johnson, Dr. Sue Johnson. She's the founder of EFT, Emotionally Focused Therapy. And what she talks about is the importance of taking a non-pathologizing approach to mental health and to therapy and to ourselves, not just in a therapy practice per se, but ourselves in general, meaning she talks about how clients will come in, individuals will come in and talk about having depression. And she'll say, that's such an interesting word. What does it look like for you? What does that mean? What is going on for you? Can you describe it? And people will so often say, well, I'm depressed, or I have trauma. Well, it's trauma. I have anxiety. It's anxiety. Without actually being able to enter into what they're actually experiencing. And when we give it that label, it loses its meaning in a sense, and we lose our nuanced and personal experience of what's actually happening. And it's in the personal experience, in actually experiencing it, not hanging on the label or just kind of using a word that somehow captures it societally but doesn't capture it personally. It's in the actual meaning of what's happening for us that we can find our humanity, and we can find our way through it, and we can find what's really happening for us and find what it means to us and find why it's there and what's really going on. And I think this is really essential and important to think about, not just in a formal therapeutic or clinical context, but for ourselves in general, for the way we relate to our children, to our spouses, to ourselves, to the world. There are so many easy terms and labels to throw on. This is what this person's like. This is what this person's like. This is what's going on here. My child struggles with this. My spouse is so this. But instead to actually think about the person in the realness of their individual humanity, of what's actually happening for them or for ourselves. What is really going on for me? Instead of, I'm going through this, it's here's what I'm really experiencing. Here are the details of it. Here's what this means to me, and here's why this is here. And if I'm able to enter into that, I can have a whole different experience of it.